Well, hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being here with us today. My name is James McCarty. I am the Associate Director of Admission here at the Johns Hopkins School of Education. Thank you for joining us for our webinar today on the Master of Science in Education in the Digital Age Learning and Educational Technology Program, or DALET for short. We love our acronyms here at Hopkins, so you'll hear that frequently. I want to just begin by saying congratulations. I think that for all of you attending today's webinar, you've taken probably the next and maybe even the hardest step in continuing your educational journey. I think kind of finding that momentum and getting things started for many students is often the most difficult part. And for myself and our team in admissions, as well as the program and faculty, I think I can speak for all of us when I say that you are never, ever going through this process alone. So we are excited to be here with you today to talk a little bit about Johns Hopkins University, our School of Education, and our DALET program. Before we jump in with everything, just some housekeeping items I'll say. Today's webinar is being recorded, so we'll send you the recording of today's webinar about a week after for you to go back and review. Also, as we go through, we'll have our formal presentation today talking about the program, admissions, financial aid, some of the bigger picture information, but we'll leave time at the end for a Q&A session. So please, as you go through, as questions pop up, please submit those in the Q&A feature at the bottom of your screen. Just know that we'll hold off on answering those questions live till the end of the presentation. But again, please answer those as we go through. Jumping in just with some fast facts about the School of Education at Johns Hopkins. We're one of 9 schools total, and everything that we do at the School of Education is focused in graduate education. As you can see, we have just shy of 1,800 students total in our graduate programs that range from graduate certificates, master's degrees, all the way up through doctoral studies as well. I think some important highlights, as you can see, I mean, Johns Hopkins University is top ranked. We were and are the first research institution in the United States. And very proud to say that as of last week, through the U.S. News World Report, we were ranked the 9th best university in the U.S. So again, very proud of that prestige that we have at Hopkins. But I think that it impacts our academic programs. There is a huge push for research at Johns Hopkins, and that sort of trickles down through our faculty and into our classes and the experiences that you have as a student. So again, just some quick overview. As far as speaking about the world-renowned faculty at Johns Hopkins, our faculty presenter today is Mr. Jim Diamond. Jim is the faculty lead for the program in Digital Age Learning and Educational Technology. He's a researcher in the field of digital media and learning, focused primarily on the use of educational games to enrich K-12 learning and teaching for students and teachers. Dr. Diamond uses design-based research methods to create and study technologies that foster individual learner agency in real-world learning settings. He has extensive experience in educational research, design, and evaluation, and his areas of interest include history, social studies, civics education, as well as STEM education, computational thinking, and disciplinary literacy. So I will pass the floor off to Jim. Dr. Diamond, take it away, and thank you so much for your presentation today on the DALET program.
Thank you so much for that invitation, James. I really appreciate it. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jim Diamond. As you just heard, I'm a faculty member here in the School of Education, and I am the program lead for DALET, so the School of Education's program in Digital Age Learning and Educational Technology. I'm very glad to take a few minutes with you today to give you a high-level view of my program. As always, I am excited to talk with people who are expressing interest. Whether you wind up here, whether you wind up elsewhere, to me as an academic in this broad field of educational technology, it's always extremely exciting to know that there are many professionals out in the world who are interested in furthering their studies, in furthering their knowledge, their skills, their dispositions in this very broad field of educational technology. So I'm excited to share an overview of our program, and I'm probably more excited to get to your questions at the end and hear about your specific interests, where you may be coming from as professionals, where you may be coming from geographically, where you may be coming from at different trajectories in your career, and talking a little bit about where a program like DALET fits for you. Okay, so to jump in, the program is a completely online program, as with many of our master's degree programs in the School of Education. There are two components to our program. So there is a graduate degree, there's a Master's of Science in Education, and there's a graduate certificate. So the master's degree is 36 credits, which is 12 courses. And the certificate, the graduate certificate in leadership and technology integration, is 15 credits or 5 courses. Nearly all of our students are working professionals, and that's probably between 95 and 98% of our students at any given time are working professionals, which means that most of them are part-time, right? And that is the appeal. One of the appeals of an online program is that professionals can continue to do their jobs, to lead their lives while pursuing a graduate education. So for the master's degree, it could in theory be completed as early within as short a span of time as 1 year. It's very unusual for all of the reasons that I just said, right? So typically we're having students in the degree program take 2 courses a semester. So it can take about 2 years on average to complete. Students actually have 5 years to complete their graduate degrees or their certificates from their first term of enrollment. Similarly, for our graduate certificate students, again, all working professionals who are typically taking 1, sometimes 2 courses a semester, and the certificates are typically completed within a year. We admit students on a rolling basis in the spring, summer, and fall, and we are teaching courses 12 months of the year around the clock. So when you apply and when you are admitted and you begin your courses, students jump right in, as it were. Okay, so a Master's of Science in Education, specifically in the field of educational technology, or a certificate in this area, is a strong credential for a lot of people. And the reason being that educational technology is a very, very broad and deep field, right? So I'll talk a little bit more about our student body, right? Many of whom are in K-12 education. But there are also many students who are in this very broad area of adult education, right? And that can be in industry, that can be in government, that can be in nonprofit organizations, that can be in informal learning situations such as museums or camps or after-school programs. All of these areas have people working as instructional technologists within them. And so people who come through our program are typically already working in one of these areas or are thinking about moving into one of these areas. So a program like this is very strong for K-12 teachers and school leaders. And I'll talk a little bit more about that specific population in a minute. Very strong for instructional technologists, people either working as instructional technologists or thinking about becoming instructional technologists, right? Professionals whose job it is to design, develop, implement, and evaluate the use of educational technologies in some context. Higher education professionals, we have students come through who are either currently working as instructional designers or instructional technologists in higher education, often for programs such as this one, for online academic programs, but not exclusively. But we also have faculty members in other institutions who come through in pursuit of a master's degree or a certificate, looking to deepen their knowledge, looking to deepen their skill set in the use of these technologies. Consultants, online course developers, organizational leaders, the list really does go on. It's a very, very broad area, which makes for a very interesting student population and faculty population. Okay, so a bit more about our student body composition. We typically are about 65 students. We fluctuate from year to year between 65 and 75 active graduate students in the program. It typically holds pretty steady, about 2/3 are female, 1/3 are male. As you can see, the majority are K-12 teachers, and that holds true pretty consistently, right? So typically half of our incoming class and then half of our students who are taking courses are classroom teachers. Now, because we also have students from other programs taking our courses, that also increases the number of teachers who are taking our courses. But interestingly, because there are so many different programs in the School of Education, you'll also take courses with people in counseling education, for example. You will take courses with people in the policy program. You will take courses with doctoral students from time to time in the EDD program. And again, the reason being that these courses, the curriculum for this program appeals to a great many people. Most of our students, so by that I mean the students who are DALET students, are typically in their mid-30s, but there's quite a range, right? So we have people coming in who are in their early to mid-20s through their late 50s and early 60s, right? So there's quite a range of students in here, but typically most students are in the mid-30s. They are often early career or mid-career, particularly for teachers. They're typically early mid-career. And by that, what I mean is they're typically in the 5 to 7 year spot, maybe sometimes 4 to 6 year spot, and they are pursuing their first graduate degree, as many of you may be. And we also have a fair number of career changers who come through. So by way of example, over the past couple of years, probably not coincidentally, given the move to online education, we've had on average 2 physicians, so 2 medical doctors a year coming through the program who are interested in not only their work as physicians, but in working to become educators of other physicians who use digital technologies in their work, right? Now, that may or may not be a career change. Some of them are, in fact, looking to leave their dedicated careers as physicians and move more into this education space. But we've had lawyers come through the program looking to leave their practice as lawyers to become classroom educators or instructional designers. It's safe to say about a quarter of our teachers, at least as they are taking courses with us, are considering leaving the classroom to take instructional design or instructional technology positions, either within school systems or leaving school systems altogether. So what this means, to draw a link to what I've been saying, is that you have a very diverse group of people in a program such as this, with a wide range of professional interests, with a wide range of personal objectives. And one of the advantages of that sort of program is that the peer-to-peer learning becomes much richer, right? Because you have opportunities to engage with professionals who are working in many different areas and who are guaranteed to bring different perspectives, different life experiences, different professional goals to their academic work. And that becomes very enriching for each and every student, because as you are working with other students, you begin to become exposed to different perspectives, to different epistemologies, different ways of thinking and developing knowledge. It's a very, very rich graduate education. This is regularly changing, so this is just a snapshot, right? This is an online program, so we have students all over the world, certainly from many states in the United States, Brazil, China, South Korea, Japan, Thailand, India. The list would go on for students from other countries at any given time. And I'll talk a bit more about modality in a second. One of the advantages of an online, particularly an asynchronous online program, is that students can be all over the world and take courses together. This is just a sample of course titles. You can certainly find more detail on our courses on the program website. You can also email me or our academic program coordinator, preferably our academic program coordinator, who can share the program student handbook with you, and that will give you more detailed information on all of these courses. But these are here just to give you a sense of the flavor of the program, right? I'm not going to read all of these, but Technology and the Science of Learning is the program's foundational course. Most of the work that we do within the program is based in the learning sciences, right? Which is an interdisciplinary field that brings in many different bodies of knowledge: psychology, anthropology, education, sociology. It brings in many different areas of research and applies them to the design of learning environments, right? That's really about what we are about in a program like this, is we are preparing professionals to design technology-supported learning environments. And what we want is for our students to leave with a very strong foundation of knowledge in how people learn in different contexts. Design thinking is a critical piece of the program. You will revisit design thinking practices throughout most, if not all, of your courses. You can see that you will take a course that's dedicated specifically to blended and hybrid learning, which has become even more important in the pandemic and post-pandemic era, and a technology leadership course as well, right? Many of our students, again, are either in leadership positions or moving into leadership positions. And this is a course that is helping our students to develop visions, to write vision statements for how to integrate the use of technologies into different organizations, and then to manage organizational change associated with the use of these technologies. Again, you can find a lot more detail on all of our courses on the website and in the student handbook. Okay, so this is just an example of an academic program. This is a part-time student. This would be a fictional part-time student, a graduate degree student who's taking 2 courses a term. Some of the coursework is prescribed, meaning that the sequence in which you take them is locked in. In your first term of enrollment, you will take Technology of the Science of Learning, and you will take Fundamentals of Design Thinking, right? Those are our 2 foundation courses. Everything else that we do springs from those courses. So the learning sciences and design. And then you move your way through. You can take up to 2 electives in the program, and then you complete your program if you are a graduate student in the degree program by taking the 2 advanced courses, which are 6 credits of capstone experience. And in those, you are doing an independent study, which basically becomes an independent capstone project in which you are applying much of what you've learned throughout your time in the program. And then you're also developing your digital portfolio as a way to curate your work and demonstrate the skills that you've developed from the day you walked in the door, as it were. There's a great deal of variation in the way that these play out, including for fluctuation in people's lives, right? So sometimes students are taking 2 courses a semester, sometimes they're taking 1 course a semester, sometimes they're taking no courses, and very, very rarely they're taking 3 courses. It does happen, but so there's a lot of variation in what this looks like, in what progression looks like. Okay, so a little bit about us. We are 3 full-time faculty members. We're the first 3 heads there. So you can see me and my colleagues, Dr. Chris Devers and Dr. Josh Shushki, all of whom have a significant amount of experience in the K-12 technology integration space with some different variations in our scholarship. So my scholarship over the years has been in the area of game-based learning. Dr. Devers has been in the area of multimedia instruction and a very strong foundation in the learning sciences and educational psychology. And Dr. Shusky is very interested in social media and identity formation, particularly in educational settings. We have many other colleagues who work as adjunct instructors. You see some of them here. They are, as listed, K-12 school administrators, instructional designers, employees of the US federal government, sometimes various state governments, and content area specialists. So one of the things that's very important in a professional degree program like this is that you have instructors who are working in your fields or working in your intended fields, right? So you have full-time academics, but then you also have a core of dedicated instructors who can impart their knowledge, their expertise, their skills through these courses. They can bring you into their professional networks. They can assist in advising you as you're thinking about making moves or changes in your career. And again, because the field of educational technology is so wide, we have a broad representation of people here. We have K-12 educators. We have people who are instructional leaders for the US federal government. We have people who are school leaders. We have people who are instructional designers and instructional designers in multiple areas of higher education. Again, the idea being because we bring students from so many areas, we need to have as many of these areas represented as possible among our faculty. At the risk of repeating myself, we have people coming in from K-12, instructional design, higher ed, ed tech consulting, media production, and we have people who are moving into those spaces, right? Coming potentially from one of these spaces and moving into something different, or coming from something quite different and moving into one of these spaces. The program curriculum does not make many assumptions about your educational background other than the fact that you have a baccalaureate degree. And it doesn't make many assumptions about your professional trajectory to date. It can be that students who have a background, a formal professional background in education already, are starting in a stronger space from the point of view that they may have some foundational knowledge and indeed some professional chops, some professional skills that others working in other areas may need to develop as they go through the program. But the program brings people from many different areas. So it is not a requirement that you are a K-12 teacher. It's not a requirement that you are an instructional designer to come through the program. Advantages of a program like this, I've already discussed a number of them. It is completely online. It is applicable to many careers and industries. We have a faculty with significant real-world expertise. We have a strong focus on K-12 education. And I want to focus for a minute, and I may have missed a slide, so let me see. Let me just scroll back. I may have jumped over a slide. Yes, I did. So let me jump back for a second because I want to tell you specifically about the modality, about what this online program looks like. So all of your courses are delivered in a learning management system. Johns Hopkins University uses the Canvas learning management system. What you see here is a, I would say, fairly plain overview of a course. They don't all look like this. Sometimes they do. But this is what it looks like when you're working inside a learning management system, right? So courses go live on a certain date and they go for an entire semester. And as you progress, you are progressing with your classmates. So this is not a program in which you go through at your own pace, right? We are thinking about cohorts. We are thinking about the necessity of students and professionals learning from one another. So for example, in a typical course like this, you may have 8 two-week sessions. As you progress throughout the term, sessions unlock. So for 2 weeks, you're working on session 1. For 2, then you're progressing to session 2, session 3, and so on. right? There are, I would say, 25 to 30% of the time, you will have asynchronous meetings, I beg your pardon, synchronous meetings scheduled, right? So this is an asynchronous online program. That means the baseline expectation is that people are all over the world. They are coming in to do their coursework at their own time, but they are progressing together with a cohort, right? And much of the work that you're doing, the reading, engaging in discussions, that's you interacting via the learning management system. You will periodically have live lectures. They're not required. You will be strongly encouraged to attend them. They're always recorded. The number of those live lectures will vary from instructor to instructor. You will be doing a lot of collaborative work with your peers. So this is a program that relies very heavily on project-based learning and on collaborative learning experiences. So it's safe to assume that across the entire program, at least 50%, probably more, of your work is going to be done as a member of a group, right? Sometimes you'll be doing that with people who work in the same industry as you do. Sometimes you'll be doing it with people who work in an industry that seems quite unrelated, except again, you have this common focus on instructional technology and instructional design. But a lot of the work that you do will be with peers, and students meet quite regularly online to work on their projects, to discuss ideas, to craft arguments, to produce various pieces of work depending on the assignment. And we have students who stick together across courses. It's not necessary. So the cohorted model is not such that everybody is moving in lockstep across courses. But we typically do have students who find that they have a kind of simpatico and they work well together. And in fact, they're learning well together as they are going through courses. So we find that students start to try to enroll in courses together across the program. Again, that's not a requirement, and that's not necessarily going to work for everybody, but it does work for a fair number of our students. Okay, I'm gonna race ahead because I think that is the last slide. That I jumped over that slide, but otherwise I think I've hit everything. So I'm going to hand it back to James, and then I look forward to your questions.
Thank you so much, Jim. Yes, yeah, perfect segue. Just a friendly reminder, everyone, as I kind of wrap up the formal presentation for today, please feel free to add any questions that you have in the Q&A, and we will jump into those as soon as I'm finished. I think today is, this presentation is really a great foundation for all of you as far as information and getting connected. And I view myself and our role in admissions as really kind of a vessel to keep you connected. So I think from my point of view, the most important piece after today is doing just that, staying connected. So as far as next step goes, I would love to meet with all of you one-on-one for a one-on-one appointment. I offer those throughout the course of the week, both via phone and Zoom. And, I would love, now that you have a baseline of knowledge, to talk to you about, your specific situation, and be able to work with you through this process. So if you take anything away from the admission side of today's presentation, again, as I've stressed already, you are never, ever going through this process alone. And as far as our team goes, I'm excited to be here with you today because I am the admissions point person, if you will, for the DALET program. So I work with all of the students that are interested in this program. So again, I'm excited for all of you because you now have a name and a face, and very soon at the end of this presentation, you'll have an email to, again, keep those connections going as we progress forward. So jumping in with some of the admissions and application requirements, essentially, when it comes time to apply, you'll want to complete the online application form. If you've been on our website, I'd say within the last, month or even weeks, you will have noticed that within the last few days, our website has been completely redone. And it's very exciting because on any admissions page, if you scroll to the bottom, there's a big yellow box that says apply now, and that takes you directly to our application. So you can navigate to that to complete that online application form. Know that when you apply, there is an $80 application fee that you'll pay as a part of that process. And just some of the pieces that you'll submit when you apply include official transcripts from all post-secondary institutions that you've attended. I do want to stress really quickly, it is all of the institutions that you've attended. So sometimes we'll have students that will only submit a transcript for an institution that they've received a degree from. We do look for official transcripts from all institutions. So even if you only took a few classes there, you were only there for a few semesters, please still send us those transcripts. Also, as far as official transcripts go, for our definition of that, essentially official transcripts are ones that come directly from the institution directly to us. At Johns Hopkins, through the School of Education, we work with a lot of virtual partners. So a lot of times, probably the easiest thing to do is to type in your school's name and official transcripts. It will, in most cases, take you to their registrar's office. And again, in most cases, you can virtually send them directly to us. That being said, you do want to have them sent to the Johns Hopkins School of Education, or the other option would be Johns Hopkins graduate admissions. Either or, they will get to us. I stress that because sometimes there's an option for undergraduate admissions and you do not want to have them sent there. So please, School of Education or graduate admissions, and we will get those transcripts. And sending them virtually is by far the easiest mode to do that. You can physically have them physically mailed to us, but virtual is just quicker, easier for all parties. There is within the application a brief essay and personal statement, essentially, you explaining why us, why would you be a good fit, why are you interested in our program. So that is a component. You'll submit an updated resume or CV. There's also 2 letters of recommendation. I get a lot of questions about those letters of recommendation. We are ideally, and I know this is not possible for everyone, but ideally we're looking for at least one of those letters of recommendation to be from someone in academia in some capacity, to be able to talk about your skills as a student. You're applying to a graduate program, so being able to touch upon your skills to be able to conduct research, write scholarly, work in groups, etc. So again, I know that is not always the case, but if possible, that's ideally the route that you'd like to pursue. I am joking, but still serious. I always say this application process is not a time to be humble. You want to, show us exactly why you would be an incredible fit for our program. And that being said, I tell students, the 2 best people that are going to give you the 2 best letters of recommendation are essentially who you should ask to write those and submit those on your behalf when you're applying. And lastly, as you can see, we do not require GRE scores for this program. So I can hear all of your cheers and applause from afar to not have to submit GRE scores when you apply. But that, in a nutshell, is the application process. For any students that have any type of international coursework or experience, we will be looking for you to submit some proof of English language proficiency. If you are an international student and you've done at least 2 years of coursework in the United States, when you apply, in place of submitting one of those test scores, there is an English language proficiency waiver where you can submit that and basically explain, I've done 2 years of coursework in the US already, so that would not be a requirement for you. And again, that waiver is built into the application. But if not, again, you can submit either the IELTS or a TOEFL score. As far as international transcripts go, we do look for a course-by-course evaluation and an evaluation from a third-party company. If you go through our admissions website under international admissions, there's a whole section that lists those different third-party companies. Probably the biggest one is WES. I know Spantran is another one, and there's a number of other resources out there for you. But essentially, if this does apply to you, you have any international credentials, you would request your transcript to be sent from that home institution from outside the US, sent to one of these third-party companies. And as you can see, you'll want to request a course-by-course evaluation of your transcript. That will then be sent to us in the admissions office, and that will, satisfy the official transcript component to your application. So again, big takeaway, we do not want your international transcript directly. You'll want to have a course-by-course evaluation done, and that's what we will utilize in the admissions evaluation component. And as you can see that website there, through our admissions website, there's a whole international student section that talks about test scores, transcript evaluations, etc. As far as cost goes, so you can see the breakdown listed here on the screen for cost. For online courses, the cost for attendance is $1,025 per credit. And then there's also a $20 per credit technology fee. So again, just giving you a rough idea of that overall cost. There is a $175 per semester registration fee, and then that $80 application fee that I've already talked about. Now, sort of transitioning to the other half of that cost and funding, if you will. So really the important piece as a prospective student, which I'm sure many of you are probably already familiar with, is submitting your FAFSA, free application for federal student aid. That is really the one and only form that we require for you to receive any type of financial aid. We do offer a limited number of partial need-based scholarships from the School of Education that we award to students. And lastly, as you can see in the bottom left corner of your screen, there are some external scholarship resources as well. I would strongly encourage all of you, after I'm finished today, I'm going to send a follow-up message for all of you to get connected with me and schedule a meeting, but I'll also send some resources as far as those external scholarships go. Of course, we would love for you to attend the School of Education and our DALET program, but those scholarships can be used at any institution. So I always tell students it's good to sort of explore some of those resources as well, because they can be used anywhere. And again, we have a whole list of those on our website for you to dive into as well. As far as, wrapping things up today, as I mentioned, my big takeaway is, as a next step, meet with me one-on-one, but also we want to stay connected with you. And you've been here today, you've heard about our DALET program, but I think a good next step would be coming back for another virtual information session. On November 16th, we're kind of doing the next version, if you will, of this virtual information session, and we're going to be offering a class preview. Essentially, it's sort of a deeper dive into some of the topics and subjects taught within the DALET program. So again, that's just another great way to stay connected as you go through this process, both working with myself, with Jim, and any of my other colleagues here at the School of Education. So now we'll transition to the Q&A portion. Again, I don't see any questions right now, so I will, Jim, I'll ask you a couple questions, hopefully just to kind of get people thinking and questions rolling. But we will dive in. And at the very end, the next slide, we'll have my contact information. So again, anything, as far as follow-up after today, please stay connected. Just to get things going, Jim. So a question that I get a lot in admissions is, how can I stand out as an applicant? When I apply, what is the faculty review committee looking for? What can I do to kind of shine and stand out and really grab your attention as an evaluator when it comes to my application?
So it's a great question. Thank you. The essay and your references are especially important. So the essay is a challenging exercise, as you likely know, in pursuing graduate education, because you don't have a lot of space to make your goals very clear and to help us, the faculty reviewing your application, to understand how you connect to this program, right? So graduate education is a significant undertaking. It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of money. And we want to make sure that we have the best fit that we possibly can. And one of the best ways for us to do that is in an essay and sometimes occasionally an interview. So your essay, it's very important to build very specific connections to this program, right? Less compelling are generic statements about your interest in graduate education or where you might wind up. Far more compelling is us as faculty reviewers seeing that you've studied this program. You know what the courses are. You know who the faculty members are. You know what our scholarship is and our research interests are. You know what the potential professional networks are. And you're able to say how these things connect to your own goals as a professional, so that it becomes a much more compelling statement of why you're a good fit for us and why we're a good fit for you. Similarly, a reference letter should give us insight into your academic background, if you're able to have a letter from an academic in an undergraduate or other graduate program, and a letter from somebody in your field. Gives us insight into your particular skill set, any leadership that you've demonstrated, any particular initiatives that you've worked on that help us, again, to understand how what you've been doing as a professional relates to our curriculum, relates to our work, relates to the specific learning objectives that we're hoping to see you achieve as you move through the program. So those really are two areas to really emphasize. Your transcripts, there's not a lot you can do about. You're done, right? You've already accomplished those grades. But what you can really work on in your application is your essay and ensuring that you've got very strong reference letters.
Thank you so much, Jim. I appreciate that insight. Like I said, I got a lot of questions in that area. So thank you very much. We did have some questions come in. So first one, is it beneficial to have background experiences in programming for the DALET programs?
It's not necessary. Yes, it can be beneficial for some courses. You will not be required to be a program for any of your courses. However, there are courses in which projects may push on you to develop. Now, if students don't have those skill sets and we don't require them, right, then what we have are students doing things like developing very comprehensive design documents. But we sometimes, not rarely, but sometimes have students with a background in coding, with development knowledge, who can actually go and build prototypes of their projects that they're interested in for a course or their capstone. So it is not necessary. It would not be a determining criteria for admission to the program, but yes, it could certainly be helpful. And if you're working collaboratively with others, when you're bringing that skill set and you have others bringing other skills, you really have an opportunity to really have very strong collaborative experiences through these assignments, because people are bringing their different skill sets together, and your work products through these courses can be that much richer.
Thank you so much, Jim. That's actually a perfect segue into our next question, kind of talking about just connectivity within the program and being connected with fellow students. The question was, although this program is virtual, do you conduct any IRL networking events? I'm guessing like in-person networking, in real life networking events, or any experiences on campus?
We do not have yet any formal experiences on campus. We do periodically have in real life gatherings. We don't do them regularly because students are all over the place. So we have tried periodically to have get-togethers in New York City or Chicago, but it's not done on a regular interval, again, because we have students all over the place. So there may or may not be opportunities for that when you're a student here. It really just depends on where we have students at the time, plus where we have alums at the time, and whether we can bring them all together in the same place.
Thank you, Jim. And yeah, thank you for that. And sorry, Cynthia, I'm as I mentioned acronyms, I'm still learning. So thank you guys for helping me out there. So speaking of alumni, just I guess one final question to kind of wrap things up for today. As far as finishing the program, what are some potential career opportunities or next steps for students that you've seen from our graduates after they finish our program, whether it's the master's degree, graduate certificate, essentially what kind of, how does this help propel them into their next step of their career, and what might that look like?
So professionally, we've had people, so let me start by saying this, particularly in the K-12 space, many teachers often stay in the classroom, right? So they're pursuing graduate work in this area with a specific intent to develop mastery in using instructional technologies, and they stay in the classroom. For people who leave, we've had students go on to take district and state level leadership positions in instructional technology. For teachers who are leaving K-12 or now our other students in the broad adult education space, we have students who regularly go on to become instructional designers, often in large publishing houses or curriculum development companies. We have students who've gone on to become media producers. We have pretty regularly a fair number of students who go out and start their own educational consultancies in instructional design and technology. We've had people who go on to delve more deeply into the area of assessment using digital technologies. And we do have a small number of students every year who go on to do doctoral work, who go on to pursue either a PhD or an EDD. And because it is a Master's of Science degree, you are having opportunities through coursework to engage, to learn something about research methods, to learn something about analysis, and to put those into practice. And then again, we do have a small number of students who build from that to go on. I should say it to do doctoral work. We also have, I would say, a handful of people who would self-identify as entrepreneurs and who go on to create their own instructional technology organizations. We had a student graduate last year who was a K-12 teacher who's now gone on to found his own firm in AI-supported curriculum development for teachers, right? So who is developing AI tools to help classroom teachers create and curate lessons and units and other instructional materials. We had another student a few years ago who went on to create her own technology-supported math coaching firm, which then branched into the creation of several digital technologies, digital storytelling apps for students to read about math and to put math into practice in these digital storytelling environments. So those are a few examples of where students go on to.
Thank you so much, Jim. Thank you all for being here with us today and learning a little bit more about Johns Hopkins, the School of Education, and our DALET program. I would be remiss if I did not share that the application is open, active, and live for all of you to be able to apply for the upcoming spring semester, the upcoming summer semester, and even next fall as well. So please feel free to dive into that application process. As I have said time and time again today, you are never, ever going through this process alone. Stay connected, reach out, and we are here to walk with you every step of the way to become a student here at the Johns Hopkins School of Education. We look forward to reading your application soon. And thank you again for being here with us today for our program. Have a great day, everyone, and we look forward to chatting with you soon. Take care.